Hi everybody, it's Kathy here and I am playing along with Miranda Webber's 52 Weeks of 52 Favourite Photos. This is a YouTube hop where she challenged us to scrap our favourite photos over the year, one a week, and it's meant to be about the favourite photo of the week, but unfortunately that doesn't always work out, as I don't always take a photo that is the favourite, but I have chosen a photo that is a favourite photo of mine from my last summer with my daughter. So I am just going to prepare some chipboard that I'm going to use on this layout, and what I have are some Scrapbook Fantasies chipboards from the Chippy of the Month Club, and I'm using some sand embossing powder, and I am heat embossing them. So to colour them today, I am heat embossing them. So that's a little bit of a different technique that I used to use all the time and haven't for a while. I just like watching that powder set, and I like it ripple across. So I am doing the two titles. One's called Ocean-tastic and the other one says Swim-tastic, so you know what my favourite photo is going to be about. And I am just adding the embossing powder over the top, and I do love this one. It has a mix of aquas and black, and it just comes up so beautiful, and it's a glossy embossing powder as well. So it gives it a bit of a shine when it is heated and melted onto the surface. So this one here has come together quite beautifully. I do love the colours that this portrays, and it is very ocean oriented. So I have a turtle, I have two shells, I have a seahorse, and I have a signpost. And the signpost, I'm actually going to do that in a rose gold. And just change the colour up a little bit there. But look at these seashells. Aren't they beautiful? These chipboard pieces from Scrapbook Fantasies are amazing. They are delicate, they are cut well, and they just sit beautifully on your layouts. They're not too bulky, which is amazing as well. And that's one thing that you don't want happening, is too much bulk on your pages, because your albums do get very bulky. Mind you, I don't mind. I don't mind if they're lumpy and bumpy. I like the feel. I'm a tactile type of person. That's why I like scrapbooking with paper. So I'm just covering up this shell here using this embossing powder, and I do love the effect that it has. Now my heat embossing tool is a little bit overheated, so I'm just letting it cool down. So that means I'm just going to prepare the other pieces ready to go, so when it's cool enough I will be able to continue on embossing. Look at this seahorse, isn't it cute? Just the cutest little thing ever. So that's all right, I do like it. And now I'm just going to put away this blue-green aqua colour. I do love it. It's really, really nice. And you can see the black in there. And that gives it like a pebbled effect, a marbling effect on the actual whole thing that you are using this embossing powder on. So I'm just cleaning my bowl here, and I use a paintbrush to do it. It's dry, it just dries everything and just pushes it back into the container. And then as I said, I'm going to do the signpost, and I do that in a rose gold. And that's because I just want a bit of contrast on the layout as well. So I'm just adding a bit more of that embossing dauber. They are the best things I've ever purchased, and they just hold that embossing powder really, really well. You can also see over there to the left that I've got some textured sand, and after I emboss this with the heat gun, I am actually going to add a bit of that textured sand to this signpost. So I just need that to go back into the tin there, into the pot, so I should be able to start heat embossing again now. My gun should be cool enough to work with again. And it is. So here you can see I just like how it melts. It's just pretty awesome actually, just to sit there and watch it melt and meld together. So there's my little seashell, and I actually got a little piece that tore off, but I'll glue that back down in a moment and you won't even see. And look at that seahorse. Isn't it just divine how that colour comes up? And here is the signpost turning to the rose gold, and that's now a shiny rose gold as well. Not easy to see in this light, but when you see the close-ups you will be able to see that. I'll just put that little piece that was missing there. I'm going to put a little bit of the glue down the bottom here, and I'm going to dip it into that sand, and that's how it's got the texture at the bottom of that post, and that sand gives it that little three-dimensional effect to it. Alright, so I'm using these Scrapbook Fantasies papers. They're Island Sands. They are the new range out, and I just love them. yes, they're my favourite place. It's the beach. They're anything to do with the beach is my favourite place. And I am just going to rough up the edges here. Now the other half of this sheet here had a whole lot of fussy cut elements on the other side, which I have fussy cut out. And I'm using the whole rest of this one. It's number 4. And I'm building my page. Now I am using my mat here to guide me. I know that a 12 by 12 is 30 centimeters, so I am just building it across that spacing there and just building my page from 2 halves. Isn't that amazing? I just love that beachy image there on that paper. Now I'm going to use another piece of the sands paper, Island Sands, and I'm going to build a frame around the beach scene. So it's like I'm looking at it through a picture frame or through a door frame or a window frame, whichever way you'd like to look at it. And I'm just going to trim down the edge there so that I have a beveled corner to make the frame. And this is just so easy to do, yet so effective, and the wood grain makes it that much easier, and it looks so authentic. So it looks like I am looking out at the beach from a window frame. I love it how it came together so easily, and now I have my base in place. I'm going to tear off another piece of that wood frame, and I'm going to put it over to the left to drag it across so that it's like the driftwood on the beach. So I'm pulling that over there, and in a little while you'll see I actually come back and put some more of the surf in. So this photo here is my favourite photo. It is of my daughter when we were at the beach this summer. She was in the surf pool, and I just love how I got the lead up to the rocks to the surf pool. It looks like she's just dipped off the edge there and is in the water, and you can see the horizon. And I'm actually going to use that horizon line on this paper here to line that photo up so that it looks like a continuous flow through from the beach through the photo to the other side. And this is where I'm just using my distress tool to edge up the papers that I'm going to put in behind. And all of these are Island Sand papers. You might be wondering why the green, but you'll see that soon as I bring in some foliage into the embellishments, and it just ties in just nicely. So I'm just going to rough up those edges, and I also am distressing the edges of my photo with the tool so that it too has that rough edge. And the reason I want that is because it's to look like the waves. You can see the waves there in that print, and the rough edges, they look like they're ruffled, and so therefore the edges of my photo follow that and emulate that as well. So I'm just going to lift that and tuck this one into place. I like that it is now carrying across the layout, and it looks like I have taken a page and torn it, and I just love how this effect is. So you can see that horizon line there. That's going to be important because you will see that in a moment that I am going to follow that through with the photo. And I'm just layering up these papers so that I can put them in behind the photo and add some texture and depth to this imagery. So I love all these colours and how they come together. I'm dragging it right across so the whole thing comes across, and then you can see that photo just lined up there with the horizon, and you'll see that it carries the line across the layout, and I just love that it looks like it's part of the whole papers there. Alright, so I've gone and fussy cut all of the elements out of the back of those 3 papers. I'm just going through them and pulling out what I think I'm going to use in this layout. The ones I'm not going to use I'm pushing over to the side, and that's okay because they are not relevant to what I need for this layout. I am going to push it to the side because I'm having 2 piles. Actually, I end up having 3 piles. One that I'm definitely not going to use, one that I might use, and ones that I definitely will use. Now I just go through them. Look, you can see, and these are only 3 half pages that I have fussy cut, and that's how many pieces, how many cutouts are on there that you can use to build these pages. I just cannot tell you how fantastic this paper range is. And so I have chosen some flowers there. I'm going to pull all the blues to the side. Definitely not going to use any of the people in this one. I am using that camera. I'm putting that signpost in there. I'm going to put an embellishment cluster down the bottom. Now I toss up whether I'm going to use the oars in this one, and in the end I decide not to. I love these stacked rocks. Now they remind me of Alaska, because they're all over Alaska, the stacked rocks. And so that's just an amazing sight to see, and I'm definitely going to have to purchase some of those stacked rock sheets that Alicia has up in her range now, so that I can utilise them when I'm getting into my Alaska photos in the holidays. Now I'm just layering up all of these pieces of chipboard and the cutouts, and you can just see that I'm having it like a frame. As I said, I just want it like a photo frame where I'm just edging it with all of the elements from the layout. And that's why I put that green zigzag in there, because I'm putting the foliage there. I just like how this is coming together. I had an image, I had an idea, I wasn't sure it would work. I'm still playing around with it, still adding bits and pieces everywhere. I'm going to put that swim-tastic there across the sign. Oh, I actually like it diagonally, but in the end I didn't do that. I should have done that diagonally like that. That looks pretty good, but in the end when I do it, I have just put it across the top. So I've added in the pieces there. I moved the dolphin over to the side and I cut into the paper so his tail slips in underneath that wave. Now with that sand, that texture sand, I'm now going to go over the ripples in the waves, and I'm adding that textured sand so that it gives that three-dimensional look to the foam on the waves, and that's highlighting that piece there as well. So I'm just going to let that dry for a second, and then I'm going to tap it off. Now this is going to get a bit messy because I did two sides at once and I should have only done one at a time. And I have now added that to the foam, so that's given it a three-dimensional addition to the layout. And I'm going to add some down here around the bottom of this cluster, like the sand on the beach. So that's tying it in together. Give it a second to dry. Look at that. It just looks so cool. I'm just going to add a little bit more. I love this sand. I don't know why I don't use it so often, but I'm just putting that in there. That's great. And then I'm also now going to carry it over to this cluster at the bottom over here, just to make sure the continuous flow. And I'm also going to put it on the bottom of that bottle up there in that cluster there. So that's one lot of dust there, and here's another lot here. And now you can see how I have added that three-dimensional texture to the layout. And I'm just loving how this has come together. And yes, there's a lot going on with the embellishments, and yes, there's a lot happening in the stacking here. That texture sand is beautiful. Make sure you get some if you haven't got some. It's always really good to add into your layouts. So back to it, as I said, yes, there's a lot going on in this layout, but the photo still pops up there. It is a feature of the layout. It isn't hidden because I have used the colours to really highlight that image, and I just love that photo. And I'm pretty pleased with how this one's turned out. It came out better than I thought it was going to. I am happy. I've just added in some ink splatters with the white there, and that's the layout basically. You can see here how I've pulled this all together. I really do like this layout. I hope that there's something here that you have been inspired by. I'm just finishing off by adding in dimension magic here so that I have a lens on my camera, because you know I like to have the lens on my camera, and it's just sealed a little bit because it's been a bit dry. So I'm now going to add that there to the lens just to give it that concave look like a real camera lens. And there you go. I think that's it. I don't think I need to add any more. I just love how this has come together. You can see the ink splatters there. You can see the dolphin coming through that wave. Look at that sand on the wave foam. Doesn't it look authentic? It's so good. I just love this layout. Sorry, I just do. And look at all that sand there. It just naturally looks like sea foam. That's what the words I was looking for, some sea foam there. And I hope that you give me a thumbs up somewhere along the line, that this has inspired you to get creative. Don't forget, all the girls are playing along with this. They will be linked in the list down below. I cannot stress how beautiful this paper range is. I will put links down the bottom for it as well, because I do know that Alicia sends everywhere around the world. So please leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up. Happy scrapping till next time. Here's my next video for you, and I appreciate you being here. See you then.